the status for Odell Beckham Jr., he's still questionable, has not practiced this week. He's more likely than not going to play. Jadeveon Clowney will be playing. He had some choice words as he left Cleveland last year. That relationship did not end on the highest of notes. He is a guy, though, who has stepped up and played his best games when he's motivated. I feel like he'll be motivated on Sunday. Are you guys worried about any revenge game factor from Mr. Jadeveon Clowney come Sunday?
No. I think Jadeveon Clowney, speaking of trash talk, should be worried about Myles Garrett. He's lucky he doesn't play offense. Remember, Jadeveon Clowney had some not nice things to say kind of about Myles Garrett when he went out the door.
Some very not nice things.
Yeah, it wasn't just about Joe Woods. And, of course, Jadeveon Clowney tried to make it seem like it had nothing to do with Myles Garrett, but it did. And we know this about Myles Garrett. He's like an elephant. He doesn't forget.
He does not forget.
He is going to remember that, and I think he's going to take it out on Jadeveon's teammates in this one.
I think this is facts. I think when you look at Myles Garrett, he believes that Zadarius Smith is a better player, and I know he would agree that Zadarius Smith is, more importantly, a better teammate. According to people around Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney wasn't a guy that was all really bought into the D-line. They would have functions. He may not show up. He wasn't coming to those things. Even when they were courting him, they were texting each other. Jadeveon Clowney wasn't really receptive or texting back. He was just basically a loner.
When you played in college, I'm sure you as a D-line group did some hanging out together,
right?
Oh,
no. That's the offensive line and the defensive line.
And if one guy was like half the time not showing up, what would you think about that?
No, it wasn't they didn't have no choice. You just pulled up on them like, hey, listen, come on over here. Like, or I don't got a ride today. And we used to even have it where if the young dudes was on campus, and because we stayed off campus, if the young dudes was on in the dorms, we gonna pick them up.
Right.
If you ain't had no money, we all pitched in. So it wasn't not showing up. Everybody had to show up. And so when you look at the Browns defensive front, the thing that I love the most is that Zadarius Smith had 10 sacks last year. He was the man on his defensive line.
Right.
He doesn't have any sacks this year. But when you watch the tape, he's been close 10, 12 times. And you can tell when somebody be close and be like, oh, man, I'm mad because I ain't getting it. He's always shouting out his other people. He's always clapping it up, always putting it. See, that makes the whole defensive line want to go after people. And Clowney was standoffish, and some people will call him a mercenary or some sort, but Clowney has he's never really found a home like that. He had J.J. Watt.
You're right about that.
J.J. Watt, it was like, okay, he went to Tennessee, right? And they played on a great defensive line. We talked about the 6-man or the 12th man of Seattle. Played with some other great guys, traditional defense. Didn't really stick there. And I thought he came here, and you got Myles Garrett. I thought it was going to be a hit situation where they played off each other.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't know if somebody's happy for you.
That's right. And to be fair, his first year here, Clowney played pretty well.
Great.
He played very well.
Great.
9.5 sacks or something.
Yeah.
Great.
But last year he was
used a word, mercenary, that I think perfectly defines him throughout his career. He's been that guy who, to me, is playing for numbers. He's trying to roll a huge sack number so he can get paid.
Yeah.
And there are other guys, and I think Zadarius Smith's a perfect example of that. There are other guys that fit well into the team framework and understand that you don't have to get to the quarterback to be appreciated and to get paid. Obviously, that's the home run when you get to him. But you can hit a triple by forcing a quick throw that leads to an interception. That doesn't show up necessarily in the biggest stat category because it's a pressure or it's a hurry. But I feel like in Clowney's case, he was always going for the home run, sometimes to the detriment of his team, and it always to me felt like he was chasing the paycheck.
And to me, I don't think you can have an all-time great defense if you do have mercenaries. It's too hard to play defense in the NFL, especially with the rules dictated towards the offense. If you want an all-time great defense, you got to actually like the people you hang with. You got to actually like even in the back end. You notice Greg Newsome is all the way bought in. Remember we talked about it all summer.
I'm not playing the slot corner.
I ain't playing that. I ain't doing that. You see how that kind of permeates. Now, how many times did he hear Jadeveon Clowney say that?
Sure.
I ain't playing on third down. I'm going to just play over
where's
here.
he?
I think you can, bring in a mercenary, but you can't bring in a mercenary to a group that's not good already.
Yes.
Like, remember when the Rams traded for Von Miller?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, well, Von Miller's a much better player, but like that defense was established. They were
and
good.
he bought into the team concept.
Right.
And he was
I'm
under
not
it.
sure that Jadeveon, and he proved this at the end of the year, he wasn't worried about team numbers, wins.
No.
He was worried about his personal sack number, and he felt he couldn't get any because the defensive coordinator was playing to the other guy.
So, yeah. So he was refusing to go in. Newsom was complaining about the slot. That's the signs of a lot of problems there.
And to back up Bull's point, Zadarius Smith actually called himself a mercenary this offseason. He wanted out of Minnesota because they weren't going to be able to pay him what he wanted, and he said he wanted a chance to excel on a great defense. We get one more contract. He said, I'm a mercenary in this business. Comes to Cleveland, and to G's point, or I guess more to Bull's point, you can have a mercenary if everyone else is bought in. They'll eventually buy into the rest of the culture.
As long as he
you
buys
can't have
into
a bunch of mercenaries because then they're all
no,
out for themselves.
then they're all on separate programs, and you got 11 individuals and not one group. This defense is a group.
It definitely feels
Jim
that
Shore
way.
said it earlier, and Jim Shore said, if you go out and play, what's valuable to us, we'll see. It ain't like you just got to go out. All you need is for the people in-house to see what you can do and what they have you do, and you can still get a contract and not have crazy numbers. It's happened a lot. So there's a lot of people who believe you got to get big numbers, go somewhere else. And I always say, man, listen, you might want to go to the prom with the girl that want to go with you. Don't be looking around for the girl down the street. Like that could end up bad. I'm just stick with what you got you here. And if Zadarius Smith, he on a 1-year contract, and Mari Cooper, they keep talking about how he ain't gonna get paid, and I keep telling them, y'all better watch out.
There's not a single player on defense for the Browns right now that I can think of that I would say is playing below my expectations for them.
Nope, not one.
I can't think of a guy.
There's only one for me, and he hasn't even played yet. But Siaka Ika has been a healthy scratch 3 weeks in a row, or 2 weeks in a row.
But I honestly had no expectations for him.
Well, he was on our 32 and 32 list, and they played two predominantly run-heavy teams. They drafted him to stop the run. He hasn't suited up as a healthy scratch.
We know your list was bad, and you embarrassed yourself by putting him on
there. You
there.
kind of exposed your list.
Well, but I'm saying I had expectations, and we didn't know really what to expect.
I think Anthony had him 8th on the list.
But outside of him, and that's not even really fair to him because he hasn't played. He just has been a healthy scratch.
Well,
I personally had no expectations.
So what happened was, this is the funny thing.
Yeah.
What happened was they found out how good Myles Garrett was at stand-up 3 technique. They found out that Zadarius Smith is a 3. They say, listen, why would we even put these dudes in here? We don't need to rotate them. We got Myles Garrett. Like, we gonna redshirt you. That's where's Shelby? Have we seen him a lot?
No, we haven't. You're right.
Maybe he's
Shelby's played more than you think.
Has he? How many snaps?
I'll tell you the snap count in 1 sec, but I also have a phenomenal quote for you guys. Can I read it real quick?
Yes.
On Myles Garrett, and then we have a Didi coming up. I was checking some reaction from the Tennessee side to the game last Sunday, and this is a quote from a Nashville newspaper. The Titans' offense was that of an FCS team playing at Georgia on Sunday. It badly needs left guard Peter Skoronski back. The Titans might need to do something about left tackle Andre Dillard as well, although he immediately improved as a player on Sunday evening simply by boarding a plane and getting thousands of miles away from Myles Garrett. That is a direct quote